Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for Hack to the Future, this DEI Hackathon, which is going to help us create some meaningful action around EDI within our organizations and also within the industry, hopefully. So my name is Gabby. I'm just going to explain what I'm wearing, what I look like for those who require it. So I'm brown-skinned with long, dark hair. I've got kind of a really loud, kind of like flouncy shirt on, which looks a bit like kind of curtains. I've got a black skirt on and trainers. And I'll introduce my co-presenter, Felicia.
Hello, I'm Felicia Siedu. I work at Cvent as a senior marketing manager, and I'm also one of the co-founders of the Diverse Speaker Bureau with Gabby. Just to describe myself, I'm a black woman. I have golden hair at the moment, today, which is braided and up in a bun. I have a golden shirt on, a black suit jacket, and black trousers, as I'm trying to look smart.
And yeah, I didn't say where I was from either. So Gabby from Diversity Alliance, and as Felicia said, co-founder of Diverse Speaker Bureau as well. And why are we here today? Well, the past few years, I have been working with a lot of organizations, associations, agencies, all sorts of companies within our industry and sector. And key challenges keep coming up again and again when it comes to implementing DE&I in a meaningful way. And these are the challenges. So there are 4 key challenges that have been identified. And the first one is data, accountability, and goal setting. So a lot of the issues we're seeing is that organizations feel like they don't have enough DE&I data, whether that is demographics or whether that is inclusion metrics, in order to kind of benchmark themselves internally, but also against the industry. And then because of that, it's kind of a challenge to set goals, because who wants to set goals when you don't really know what you're reaching or striving for? So that has been a big challenge. The other challenge has been talent pipeline. So I know everybody's discussing this a lot at the moment. Talent shortages, issues with lack of diverse talent really within our industry, of which to promote and actually to attract into the industry as well. The other big challenge was stakeholder management and buy-in. So for some, within organizations, DE&I isn't being taken quite as seriously as yet. So resources such as time, funding, support, lack of support and education is kind of stopping people from kind of taking that first step a little bit. So we really need to get that stakeholder buy-in and also manage our external stakeholders too. And then the final one is DE&I knowledge. So that's kind of a bit of a lack of knowledge around what the real issues are that are really, really industry specific. I think we know the general kind of issues around marginalized groups when it comes to DE&I, and some of those practical things we're talking about when we think about accessibility and inclusivity, but it all goes a lot deeper than that. And it's really very much about changing mindsets, challenging ourselves to be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes so that we can actually make meaningful change and not just kind of skirt around the issues a little bit and kind of think, well, we kind of know what the issues are, but we're not getting to the depth. So those were the challenges that were brought up. And we actually did a little bit of a poll online on LinkedIn to see what people externally within the industry thought were the biggest challenges. But actually, I think we should maybe do a bit of a vote first.
We should do a vote. Before we do that, what I'm going to explain to you is this is a very interactive session. At the moment, I see certain people sitting in 1s and 2s. That's not going to fly for the rest of the session. We're going to have to ask you to move at certain points so that you can interact with each other. And the reason why I say that is because after you vote on what you think are the biggest challenges in our industry, we're going to ask you to help to fix them today. Rather than us telling you what we think you should do, you're going to tell us. So we're going to get microphones around the room, we're going to get you working in groups, and hopefully you can work together to solve them. So hopefully it doesn't scare you off. I'm going to give you some rules and regulations in a little bit. But for now, we're going to ask you to access the Slido. So we would like you to vote now on what you think are and we're picking one, is the MICE sector's biggest challenge when it comes to organizations meaningfully implementing EDI into their workplaces and events.
So just one, just selecting one, the biggest challenge that you think.
What do you think it is? And then once you've voted, we're going to tell you what was said online, and we'll see if we find some kind of consensus. If not, we'll try and tackle something that's a bit merged together.
Oh.
Boom, 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 boom. Jeopardy.
Love that.
Or I could do countdown clock.
No, I don't like that one.
No?
It makes me anxious.
Other hold
Okay.
music.
So, lack of data and accountability is coming up top at the moment. Interesting.
Yeah.
Stakeholder management talent pipeline, kind of
Getting
even
those votes
kill.
in.
Get your votes in, people.
I think we'll give it another 30 seconds.
Yes.
And if you're having any trouble using the Slido, just let us know. I think we're
This
landing.
is super interesting for me.
I know.
I'm
I think
loving
we're
seeing
landing
it.
on lack of data and accountability, which I can understand.
Oh, there's a last minute. It's like
Stakeholder
the horse
management
races.
coming in.
Okay. Well,
Is that where we've landed? Does everyone feel like they've voted?
does everyone feel like they voted?
So I think
How'd
one
they
of the
say?
things that this does show, and I mean, we've seen this in lots of the talks we've given, is that there is this mixture of like, what shall I tackle first? Where is the actual issue? But for the purpose of this session, we are just going to pick one. And I think we're going to have to say that the vote
Oh.
is now closed. It's not really, it's still open, but we're going to go with stakeholder management. Okay,
Cool.
so it seems that stakeholder management is the biggest issue that was identified. Now, online, what was the biggest
Interesting.
issue that was identified?
Let's have a little look as a reminder. Got it on the next
If we can
slide.
get our slides back. Can we get our slides
Yeah.
back?
Oh,
Oh,
there we go.
any set. There we go.
So here are the results from the little survey that we did online just last week. And as you can see at the top there was actually DE and I knowledge. And then following that was lack of data, accountability, and ability to set goals. So actually quite
We've got-
different.
yeah, it's very different. But like I said, I think that identifies the fact that people are confused. They don't really know what to go for first. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and tackle the two that have been identified, and that will be the DE and I knowledge alongside that stakeholder management. Because I think when we put that together, we had heard that some of the issue is you get sort of this grassroots feeling in organizations where people seem to think, I think this is what we should do, I think this is where we should go, but then the stakeholders are like, that's not my goal today, that's not what we're doing, I've got other things, so you need to then get that buy-in. So let's move us along. We're going to do one more Slido because I need to know who we have in the room. Who are you out
I'd quite
there?
like to know too.
The reason why that's important is because you've identified stakeholder management as an issue. We kind of need to know who you are. Are you the person at the top of the organization making the decisions? Are you a manager? Are you a people manager? Or are you an individual contributor where you are working in the organization, you're not really managing a team, but you are trying to then talk to those senior leaders? Because that will help us to frame how we talk about the rest of the session if we can figure out who the devil are you? All right, so we've got individual contributors. Ooh, maybe that's why stakeholder management came out. Okay. We've got, still lots of individual contributors.
Okay.
This is good because this means that you'll be able to maybe go back into your organizations and say, this is what we came out with. I think we should really do this. And going to say this now, I know we're going to say it at the end, but we are going to be available to you to maybe help you with that. If you need to get back in contact with Gabby at the end and say, look, I really liked what we did, I like what we came out with, but I need help in my organization to manage that stakeholder relationship, always talk to Gabby. I'm making you available.
Thank you. I'm available.
All right, so individual contributor mostly, but we do have a good, nice mix of senior managers and people managers. Okay.
Great.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that even split vote coming in at the end. So we've got a split room. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's go back to our slides if we can, and we will get into what we're doing. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to have to do this next part in groups. There are rules of the hackathon. We're going to ask you questions. And in your groups, you're going to have about 4 minutes to tackle each one of those questions and come up with what you think might be good answers. You have to stick to the time. Got that in there. You have to pick one clear answer. So if you have 4 people in your group and you're going, oh, I think it's this, or I think it's this, or I think it's this, I think it's this, you have to come to a consensus because that is one of the biggest issues. People have all their ideas and they're not coming to a consensus, so you must pick one. the answer that you pick has to be achievable. You could say if we all flew to the moon, it would get better, but we don't have rocket ships and we don't know how to get there, and there's no, it's a problem. So we can't do that. We have to do something that's achievable. Like I said, you've got to stick to the time, move on to the next one when it comes up. And this is the biggest thing. Yeah. You have to be prepared to take action after this. If you're not prepared to take
mass
action,
exodus.
if you're not prepared to take action, you're not prepared to come up with answers, as we've seen, you might want to go. If you can't hack it, don't crack it. There we go. This is like no likey, no larty. All right, so can I get you into some kind of working groups if anyone wants to talk to each other? Would you like, I mean, you're already...
I counted, there was like 25 in the room, but I feel like we've lost 50%.
People are like, no, I'm not doing this. If you need to move forwards, please do get up and move.
Yeah,
if you need to
come
go back, go back. Talk to each other. It's the only way you'll solve for this challenge.
So what
is
should we
if you
say?
get together.
So no more than sort of 5 per group?
Yeah, maybe like 5, 6 in a group. Oh, look at that. I see
I
hands
love that.
shaking.
Nice.
Excellent. I
This
think
side.
group at the back, are you going to
You-
stay? Do
yeah,
you
you
wanna join
joining?
the group? Or you could join the people at the back.
I feel like we might need a third group would be really nice in this scenario.
Yeah, there's a big group
There's
forming.
a big group. Can we divide up this middle one a little bit? Have a little slightly smaller group.
Is this like when you're choosing like
Sorry.
baseball players?
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. I like
You
this.
over there.
Talking amongst
Tess,
yourselves.
Tess over there. Lovely.
Excellent. Perfect.
Nice.
So this is good. That's
Great.
worked out
Lovely.
really nicely.
Perfect.
All right.
Countdown clock. And do you know what? Congratulations for staying.
Yeah.
Showing you can hack it and
I've
if you
seen
really
some
want to
people
make
are like, I
meaningful
can't hack
change.
this. This is great. We've got 3 groups. I love it. So the first thing that you're going to talk about is if there's a lack of information and that information needs to get to your organization and then to your stakeholders, where ideally would you like to find that information? If there was some holy grail information out there, you're like, do this. And if you do this, you will move the needle. Where on earth would you like that information to be, or should it be, for all organizations to access in one place? So I'm giving you 4 minutes. I'm looking at the clock.
I'm doing a
Can you
timer.
go? And just talk amongst yourselves. Where would that information live? Where should it be?
Cool. I will keep an eye on time and update them on time. Should we pop around and just...
Yeah.
I'll pop around.
I want mics off.
I'm going to come over here.
Yeah. Hi.
I'm earwigging.
Hello. Okay. I'm so sorry. We were meant to do something, and this group has just pointed out to me really badly.
The
They're like,
challenge.
what is EDI? And I was like,
Oh.
we really should have started there.
we
Okay.
really should
so
have done, yes.
Gabby, go.
Oh,
Equity,
okay.
diversity, inclusion, very quickly.
Really, really quickly. So, diversity is obvious, well, hopefully obvious. Diversity of people, thoughts, ideas, things. Inclusion is everybody being able to include it in whatever activity that we're taking part in, whatever company we're in, whichever event that we're at. And equity is everybody being supported, no matter where they started from, their background, to start at the same position so that everyone can move forward in a fair and inclusive way.
There we go.
That's as quick as I've ever described
Thank you.
it. I hope
And then
that made
I'll
sense.
do a little bit more over here.
I also think that we need to clarify as well. So it's about stakeholder management, a stakeholder
It's
buy-in. So that's-
stakeholder buy-in
Yeah.
alongside, that online challenge where people said, where will I, like that date, how do I know what to tell my stakeholders? So you need to know what information to give them and where you're going to get that information from
sorry.
to bring them on that journey.
Got 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay, you can turn me off now.
Hello.
I'm so sorry.
don't worry if you don't feel like you've got the exact answer. Hopefully, I'm going to stop shouting.
So
Hopefully, go.
I can hear conversations going, this sounds so interesting. I'm hearing, is it HR's responsibility? Is it external organization? I heard a really good conversation there. Is it the association? So we want you to remember that, because we're going to move on to the next question, and we're going to feed all this back at the end and come to a consensus. So,
just quickly, do they need to choose kind of which one they're considering?
You all have to at the end. So at the end, we're going to say it's one, literally one. I've heard so many different things, but you're going to have to say it's this. This is it. If we just all do this, then at least we all know who's giving that information. All right, second question. Is there any area of your business currently that you think you can model to help drive that change? Now, by that, what I mean is, where are you winning with your stakeholders already? How do you already find and gather information and research and data in your organization today that you say, oh, when I did that and I gathered that information through that channel and that research, I can help my stakeholders to understand what we should do, and I win. Is there an area in your business today that you can identify that you could model with then diversity and inclusion and say, aha, if I did it similarly like this, I can win? Does that make sense?
Okay,
Yeah?
Starting the clock. We've got 4 minutes. Once again, Felicia and I will be wandering around if you have any questions. And 4 minutes, here we go.
Here we go. Hi. So, I can see these are great conversations.
Yeah, really good.
I heard a really nice
actually.
point over there. So try to, if you can, try to remember some of those points you're talking about, because we, like I said, we're going to get the mics around to you at the end, and we're going to try and get to the consensus of this. So next question is, how would you like to share best practices between your organizations? So right here, right now, you are sharing what you think could work between your organizations. But on an industry-wide scale, what do you think is the best way for organizations to share their best practices with each other? So I'm going to give you hints and tips. Meeting, online, forum, like where, how on earth does every organization come together and say, this is what we think is the best practice for the industry? Okay, keep going.
Okay, well, the clock has started. Yeah, really interesting ideas.
Time. Okay, Gabby, next
Yes.
question.
Next question. Have you got the, yes.
Yep. Okay, so
Oh,
it's
sorry.
who is going to take charge of this? So you've discussed where you're going to get this information that you're going to pass on to your people and stakeholders. You've discussed how you're going to share it amongst organizations. We need who's going to do it. Is it the individual contributor? Is it the CEO? Is it the CFO? Who's going to do this stuff? I have opinions, so I'll keep them to myself. But you've discussed such good things. I've heard it. But we need these people within the organizations. Whose job is this? Go, 4 minutes.
Sorry, I didn't realize you wanted me to do.
Oh, say that again. Hello. I must say, the conversations I'm hearing are fantastic.
I guess making
There's
sure
so much happening.
one person, because if this
I feel like we could do this all day.
one person taking charge.
All right, I'm bringing you back. I'm bringing you
Sorry.
back.
My fault.
So you've got one final thing to do.
Yes.
And in the interest of time, because I want you to all be able to hear what you've been talking about, we're only going to give you 2 minutes for this last one.
Okay.
Setting a timeline. So we've heard you come to things like this, you share information, you've heard things, you've thought things, you've put things out there. Being honest with yourselves, when you all go back to your organizations, are you going to be like, right, we heard this today, I'm going to set X timeline to get something done based on what I thought, heard, shared today? Probably not. So if you had to set an ideal timeline of, I came here, we determined that it's this person who's responsible and we need to find the information here, la, la, la. How long should it take between you being here and an actual step happening? I'm not saying you're going to fix everything, but between today and X date, what could change? Realistically, if you were to say, right, you know what, actually, I took that way, how long? Does that make sense? 6 months, 2 weeks, a year from that conference. If you got a golden nugget today that you were like, done, this is the best thing I heard, how long do you think it should take you to implement something in your organization? It's a hard question, but if you don't set timelines, you're done. So go for it. 2 minutes just to think. Give us a timeline. Anything. First step.
First step, yeah, the first step, not for it to be completed, because EDI is never completed.
Microphone.
Okay. And time is up on that one.
That one was really quick.
It was super quick.
So I know it says up here, what does it say? Yeah, time to share. Excellent. So you've all said a lot to each other. I might zip back through these. Does anyone feel confident to share with the rest of the group? Can I go back? I'm going way back. Back to the first question. Yes, please. So our first question that we asked, and we need to come up with a joint consensus, was where would you like to get the information from? And we need some like quick, snappy answers. So
Just one.
Group by group.
Yeah, let's go
Where
over
did
here
you
first of
determine
all.
was the best place to get the general information on EDI? Where?
One answer.
We just thought in
Yeah,
a sort of
microphone.
authoritative online resource.
Authoritative online resource. Love it. Thank
Perfect.
you. Group
we
in
over
the
here?
middle. Where?
Everyone's looking at you or you. So the mic is coming over.
We essentially had the same. I think
Oh.
we definitely online. was our
Okay.
buzzword. Online.
I like
Online
that.
authority.
An authoritative online resource. I think that word is so important because it's not
Yeah.
just somewhere online. It's
Authoritative.
authoritative online resource. Okay, this group, what did you think? Where would you get the information?
We said HR.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
Great.
That makes us think about something. So we do need to try and leave the room with one answer, but maybe what we say is HR should know where that authoritative online resource is to inform the rest of the business. That almost sounds like your who should take charge.
Mm.
So is there any area of your business currently that you can model to drive change. Now, Chet, you did say something really good in here, so.
Shall I? I'll run over here then. Glad I'm wearing
He's
trainers
like, what
today.
did I say? It was stuff about, think about health and safety, finance.
So many organisations have lots of checks and balances throughout their weeks, months. So whether it's health and safety, P&L, probably even sustainable initiatives. So that should form part of your checks and balances. So it's ongoing. It's always evolving. It's always improving. The end.
I love
Lovely,
that.
thank you for that.
Because if you think about that in relation to the stakeholder management, that is how no one of your senior leaders is going to say, I don't care about health and safety, I don't care. Or I don't care about finance reports, I just don't care. Because you can give them data and information and say, sir, madam, you know, here it is,
life.
you know. And that's how they listen. So did you have anything different in the middle?
Modelling? Something that you can model?
Yeah, there were a lot of points where basically sustainability is something that we could potentially try to achieve on many fields, regardless of the type of the business.
Yeah. Sustainability, there's a lot happening in sustainability. There are authoritative voices in sustainability, and you model on that. That's a good answer.
Over here? Do we have a model that we
Did you
can
have an
use?
answer?
They had lots of
I
answers.
think
over
from
here. Love it.
our perspective, I don't know if I present well the group. Sustainability can be a good segue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. So if you've got the ear of your stakeholders already with regards to sustainability, and you can show them that data and that checks and balances, maybe you use the same thing with ED and I. All right. How would you like to share best practices amongst yourselves? I think here we heard a lot about human connection.
You're smiling, so the mic is coming to you.
Well, we were thinking about this event, to give a voice here in this event every year in order to be updated and to get consensus also.
Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you.
Okay, regular human connection. Yeah.
One of those solutions. Yeah. Oh, pass it on. Thank you.
Yeah, so online trade media, M&IT.
Plug.
But also trade shows, sessions at events, awards is also a good way of doing it. It's, yeah, so you...
Okay.
The full round piece.
What do you think is the best of all of those? If you had to pick one.
I think it might be
Trade
biased.
It's like trade press. Okay. And this group of here, sorry, Gab, you're going to run.
That's okay. I need the exercise.
Best way to share amongst orgs.
I'm just, yeah.
We spoke about having an industry organisation that puts together, say, an annual conference or meeting where everyone comes together to discuss.
Very nice.
Interesting. Like
Very
it, like
nice.
it.
So definitely sounds
running low
like
on time.
it's that human
Super
connection piece. Oh, go on.
I think I want to just... I was here in 2019. Trust me, I attended a lot of conferences. Nobody was speaking about this subject. So it's an amazing starting point, and thank you so much for that.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you. Glad I gave you the mic now. Thank you.
And then who? I heard HR. Who's doing this? Whose job is it? Is it the individual contributor? Who is it? I think maybe your group said HR?
Anyone?
Mike's good.
There we go.
Yeah,
outfit, by the way.
senior leadership can take charge of this. So one quick example, we have ERGs. Somebody from a C staff is a part of each of those employee resources group, so that you have a senior person kind of enforcing the rules, and you have people from all levels kind of helping support that from the bottom.
Oh, I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Really concise.
We have
Like
that
it.
at Cvent, actually. We have senior leaders in our ERGs. There's always a senior leader in there. So I love that.
Anybody over here?
Whose job is this?
There we go.
I was saying I think it kind of comes from the bottom a little bit as well.
Okay.
I'm new to my company, and myself and another colleague who are new as well. And it's sort of coming up with ideas to help, the senior team, but also to implement the different teams that you have. You know, if you've got marketing, sales, operations, whatever, it's a question of how do each of those teams work together to, drive up and make the company grow.
So I hear you, and I agree with you to a point, but I'm going to challenge it a bit. Is it, so bottom up is like, what do you call it, influencing and acting, but should they take charge? everyone should take charge. So it's
Everyone
almost
should
like
take
everyone's responsibility. Okay, go on that group.
Who should take charge? Here we go. Thank you, Kim.
I think this has to really start at the top of the organization, and it has to be a business priority. And I think that business priority and the value of EDI of inclusion needs to be translated into business value at every part of the business, and then metric, to a point made earlier, and measured just like you measure profitability and operational cost.
Yeah. This is where that data and that lack of data comes in. We need this, that we're able to implement such things. Sorry.
And then very, very quick answers. So let's say you agree. We need an authoritative online place where we can go where HR gets the information, and we think that there should be an IC contributor coming up, but senior leadership HR. But when? When should you take the first step? Gabby, you got to get back out there.
Gosh, yes. When?
It's like, this is me.
When?
When? How
Okay.
long?
Just really
First
quickly,
step.
when?
We didn't realise. We thought it was when it needs to be implemented by. So we
Yeah.
need to confirm. Oh, be
That's right,
implemented.
yeah.
You said a year.
A year to implement the full program.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's
Thank you.
full something. Okay.
A year.
First steps,
Over
or
here?
we're going to do implementation? We can do either or.
Who wants to
What did
share?
you come up with?
Yeah, we said, I think, a year as well.
Okay, so
Or
we're
was
doing
it, like,
implementation. I think that
yeah,
group did do
6
first step.
months.
I
Yeah,
did
6
first step.
Let's have a look at first. I want to hear about first.
Okay, so a
that
year
first,
to
taking the
implement.
first step as well.
And then
We did first step, so
Yeah.
we said first step should be next week. If you're in a regular type of organisation, say, then you come away from here, you're doing all your follow-up from this event at IBTM. So next week, you should be getting a working group together, you should be raising it for an agenda, finding out. There's no reason to wait any longer than next week to start your first step.
I love that
Great,
so
thank
much.
you.
I love that. That makes so much sense. So you've heard a lot from each other. Like I said, normally you'd get on this. We'd get on this stage. We say, we think this, we think this, we think this. That's not the point of today. As you've seen, it's a lot of sharing best practices amongst yourselves. We are going to work so hard to keep this conversation going. I've been doing it. Gabby's been doing it. I do it at roundtables. I did it at Connect. We're doing it here. Gabby does it in your organizations. She can come in and help you shape those stakeholder relationships, where data should be captured, how it should be gathered, how you should be talking, language you should be using. I'm
I
talking
love it.
up
I
a
know.
lot.
I was like, you keep picking me up. I like it.
But I know because she does it. She's my go-to person. I'm like, Gabby, what do we do about this? You know, she told me we capitalize both these letters here because actually it's more accessible for people reading. She has that information. So if you need to talk to anyone about this, Gabby's your person. Sorry, I'm talking up a lot. And here's her contact details as well. Like
Yeah.
we planned it.
I mean, we would love to be able to hear back as well. So I think you would have been scanned in as you came into the session. So I don't know about the policies around emails, but either way, you can always contact me or contact Felicia to ask questions, to let us know how you're getting on with taking these first steps, hopefully next week, and something huge hopefully happening by next year.
Absolutely. And what we're going to do, we've taken a lot of your points. I'm really glad this is recorded because it means I didn't have to write anything down. And we're going to try and put that into paper format, digitally, so that we can share that out with you. You can read back on what did we say, why, and maybe show it to the people in your organization and say, we think that this might be a good way forward. My job, and I know I'm taking some time, I feel really passionate about gathering organizations like SITE together and ABCO and the AEO and ILA and any association, I did this at Connect, that will listen and say, can we form together? One of the really good ones, EVCOM, said we have a shadow board that advises up to the main board about DE&I. That is what they do. And I said we should have one shadow board that advises all the boards of the associations as to what we should be doing next. So there is that authoritative voice. So that's my job over the next year, is to try and gather the associations together to inform. And I'm going to get IBTM and IMEX and anyone that will listen to join that and say we inform everyone, not just ourselves. Because if you keep that information to yourselves, it's not going to really help. It only moves the needle this much.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. Hopefully you support that and take that back to your businesses. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
so much.
Thanks for your contribution. Much appreciated.